Hi, everybody. I really wanted to share with you an amazing story that happened to me when I was on a missions trip in Haiti in 2014. So come along with me, and I'm going to share with you what transpired during that week I was there. Previously, I had gone the year before. Actually, in 2014 was the first year that I went on a missions trip. And it was a bittersweet time. If any one of you have ever been on a missions trip, you go with the intention of blessing the orphans and loving on them and just showing them who God is. And I walked away from that trip feeling like they blessed me. I'm the one that walked away inspired. To watch how they live and to watch just the simplicity of the things that they have, that they are so content with. It almost makes me sad for the way I act, honestly, when I don't get my way. And I came back and I had the words that I kind of just kept going through my head as they have nothing, but they have everything because they don't know any different. And it was just an incredible, incredible, incredible time. My husband and I had been separated for about 8 weeks at that time. I had moved out in November. And so this January, I was going just with a heavy heart and hoping that God would just do some healing in my heart while I was there and healing in my marriage. So it was really hard for me to focus. I cried a lot, just what was going on in my life and just seeing the conditions that these beautiful, beautiful women, had to live in and not being able to care for their children. As a mom myself, it just broke my heart. So fast forward the following year in 2014, and if Julie's on here, I don't have my glasses on right at this second, so I can't read everything. I'll put them on in just a second. But Julie, I went with her and her group from a Celebration Christian Preschool in Brentwood. And they go every 3 months. I think she still goes. My niece had worked in that preschool at the time. And Julie, I went with her and with a group from Fresno Pacific University, I think that's called, a college, the second time around. And we had one of the highlights of taking the kids out is taking them to the beach, taking them down to the beach. It's like the highlight of the visit. So we're going down to the beach, and the beaches in Haiti are, they're not sand like we have here. They're completely rock. They're just rocks, pebbles everywhere, hundreds, thousands of them. And so if any of you know me and you've seen my posts on Instagram or here on Facebook, you know that hearts are a way that God shows me that he loves me. It's been that way ever since I was a little girl. I will see them in a rainbow, in a cloud, putting a cup down, in a leaf that flies by or blows by. Literally, a stain on the carpet. It doesn't even matter. And, you guys are so amazing because honestly, I'm not even kidding you. I get 1 to 2 a week of people sending them to my phone, sending them to my Instagram, sending them as a private message, sending them as an email. And they will just say, look, Andi, look what I found. And the thing is that when I share this story and I share my hearts, it's almost like everybody else sees them too. It's kind of like when you're pregnant and you don't see anybody pregnant until you're pregnant, and then you see everybody that's pregnant. It's kind of like that with the hearts. And I pray that after this video is over and you hear this story, that the next time you see a heart in any shape or form, wherever you see it, that would just be God talking to you and just reminding you of how much he loves you. And trust me, they'll always show up in exactly the right time you need them. That's just how he works, right? So this time I'm going to Haiti. I'm back to Haiti. It's 2015. This time, my husband and I have been back together for 8 weeks. God has restored our marriage. He has reconciled our relationship. And I am walking along the beach. I walk away from everybody, and I'm thinking to myself, God, you know what would be so awesome? If I could find a heart-shaped rock from Haiti, just to kind of mark this moment and like what you've done in my life over this past year. And so I'm walking along, and I'm looking around. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes goes by, and I'm not finding my rock. And now I'm getting a little frustrated because I'm thinking, God, I'm like this small. You show me rocks any other time in the shape of a heart. Surely you're God, and you can make a heart-shaped rock appear. You can give me one. You're God. You can do this. I know you can. 20 minutes goes by. Half an hour goes by. I'm not finding my rock. So now it's gone from getting frustrated to, I'm going to be honest with you, I was mad. I was mad that God wouldn't do that for me. All of a sudden the sun starts to set. It's about time to head back. And so I see everybody kind of packing up down the way. And I say, God took me over his knee and spanked me, because that's basically what he did. And he said, Andrea, I did everything that you asked me to do. I healed your heart. I changed your husband's heart. I healed your marriage. I gave you everything that you asked for the last time you were here. And you're mad because I'm not giving you a heart-shaped rock? Really? And I was so convicted, and I felt so horrible. I felt so horrible. And I apologized, and I was crying and just asking God for forgiveness, telling him I was sorry. That how could I even be mad at you for that? I mean, that's childish, and it's like, little kid, stomping her feet when she doesn't get her way, right? So as I'm walking back to everybody, and now we're all good, and God's forgiven me. I've said I'm sorry, and I'm going to bring you guys over here for a little field trip, because I want to show you what it looked like that day. So here's my backyard, and I have just a whole bunch of rocks over here. So I just kind of wanted to show you kind of what it was like. Obviously the rocks in Haiti are shaped differently. There's, some big, some small, all that. And I was kind of hesitant putting it in here because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to find it. But, look, you guys don't see any rock that's a shape of a heart, do you? I mean, you can kind of look. There's really not anything. And that's kind of how it looked that day when I was walking back to everybody. Just like this, nothing stood out at me. When all of a sudden I'm walking, I'll make the noise. I'm walking, and all of a sudden he said in my heart, stop. So I stopped, and I heard in my heart, not out loud, audible or anything like that, just down in my soul, I heard, pick up that rock right there. And here's the rock that he told me to pick up right there. This one right here. You guys see it? Oops, it's the opposite way. It's like a triangle kind of shape, right? That's the one that he told me to pick up. Now, you guys, I hope you're sitting down, because honestly, this is why I wanted to share this story, because you're not even gonna believe this rock. And he said, turn it over. There you go. Okay, you guys, I can't even begin to tell you. It was literally like watching a movie, okay? Here on the other, so it was like this, and he says to turn it over. I turn it over, and this is what's on the other side. You guys, look at that. I'm not even making this up. I didn't paint this. This is a true story. I tagged Julie, who invited me to go on this trip, and I hope she's watching to back up what I'm saying, because this is what I turned over, you guys. Out of all, this is just, the beaches were long. So like out of all these rocks, I heard, pick up that rock and turn it over. And that was on the other side. Crazy, right? But the story doesn't end there. It even gets better than this. So I go back to everybody, and I show them my rock, and I tell the story. There was a pastor there, shared the story with him, shared the story with Julie. Everybody, they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Everybody was just saying that is incredible. I had collected some other rocks and some shells and everything throughout the day, and I put it in like a beach bag. Later on that night, Saray, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful young woman of God, and I really got to know each other while I was there. I want to say she was 18 or 19 at the time. I'm not even quite sure. I could totally have that wrong. But everybody else was asleep. And, you know, there was maybe, I want to say, maybe 8 to 10, you know, girls in a room in bunk beds and stuff. Everybody was asleep. It was dark. We're out in kind of the family room, kitchen area, still talking till like 2 or 3 in the morning, talking about God, talking about, relationships, talking about, you know, sins that we've committed and things that we're carrying that we kind of need to let go. And it was just a deep, deep, beautiful, beautiful conversation, getting to know this beautiful girl. And we start talking about the day, and she says, you know what, I found the most amazing rock down at the beach today. It's in the shape of a heart. And I thought to myself, you did not find a better heart than my heart, because I'm thinking she found just a gray rock in the shape, literally the shape of a heart, but I got the shape with the red heart on it. So I said, you go get your heart and I'll go get my heart and we'll compare them. So I'm quietly trying to go through the bag of shells and rocks and everything, trying not to wake everybody else up at, like, now it's probably 3:30 in the morning. And I'm so quiet trying to get through it, and I get my phone and use the flashlight, and the rock's not there. It's gone. This rock, it's not there. It's nowhere to be found. I am bawling, crying, because I'm thinking, I didn't even take a picture of this with my phone. Nobody is going to even believe this story. Like, it is a miracle. Like, nobody's going to believe this story. So she has her rock in her hand, and she sees that I'm upset, and she says, let me see your hand. I'm going to get emotional. She says, let me see your hand. And I give her my hand, and she puts her rock in my hand, and she said, God told me to give this to you. You guys, this is her rock. Okay? This is my rock. This is her rock. I can't even articulate to you what that meant to me and what I was going through in that season of my life. And that's what I want to share with you guys, is this. Sometimes God wants us to let go of the good things, because you know what, here's the thing. Even if I didn't have this rock, which is incredible, but even if I told the story and it just ended with this rock, it's a good story, right? It's an amazing story. Just this alone is incredible. Incredible story of God's love for me, saying, out of all these rocks, Andrea, out of all these rocks out here, I chose you. And if you were the only one in this world, I still would have sent my son to die for you. That's how much I love you. So sometimes he asks us to give up the good things so that we can get the better things. Earlier this year, I had to kind of look at my plate, look at everything that's on it, and I was just getting sick. It seemed like once every 3 weeks. Finally turned into bronchitis when I had gone to the Mount Hermon Christian Writers Conference, and I was just weak. You guys, I don't know what it is. I am one who can stay up till 3, 4 in the morning, get 3-4 hours sleep and still function. But I'm telling you, since I turned 50 in November, I can't do that anymore. I can't run like that. My mind thinks that I can, but my body, I cannot function like that anymore. I need, believe it or not, I know this is going to shock some of you, I need sleep. I got to get to bed earlier. What I was finding is that everything I had on my plate, and going back to work, I had to actually step out of seminary. I registered and I was in seminary in 2017 in September. I had been going to seminary school all through 2018. In the beginning of this year, I had to pull out in the middle of the semester because my husband needed me at work, and I felt like that's where God was calling me to go. I needed to help him. We were partners in it, and I had to help. And so now I'm back at work, and the things that I was doing, social media for some people, Celebrate Recovery, Cindy and I, trying to do my own book. There was so much on my plate that I kind of just had to evaluate it, and God was just kind of telling me, Andrea, This is your year of Jubilee, as Cindy calls it for me. You're 50, and some amazing things are going to happen for you this year. And if you don't get rid of some of that stuff on your plate, you're not going to have any room for the best stuff I have for you. The stuff that you're doing is good. I'm not saying it's not good. You're all doing things in my name. I get you. It's great stuff. But sometimes, you guys, even the good stuff isn't good for us. Even the good stuff can still be bad for us because we spread ourselves. So I think even as just women, right? We spread ourselves, even men. Okay, you're working, you're taking care of a family. All the burden lies on you of taking care of your family, right? Sometimes it's just too much. I wanted to read just a few verses here that really stuck out for me when I was getting ready and preparing here to talk to you guys. And one is from Isaiah, and it's in Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. And it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts." The next one is found in Ephesians 3:20. And that reads, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." So it was so amazing to me that I believed and I had faith that God could do what I wanted him to do, right? I wanted him to give me a rock. I wanted to take that back as a symbol of where I had been the year before and what he had done in my life in that year. And I think he was just telling me, it's in here, Andrea. You don't need a rock. You don't need a rock. You don't need a rock to know what I did. You still have a story. You still have a story. And when I humbled myself before him and told him how sorry I was for the way that I acted like a spoiled little brat, actually, I was going to be completely honest, that as I'm walking back, and he says, just pick that one up right there. And this is twofold, right? Because now this is talking about knowing what God is capable of, right? Sometimes you have to believe before you receive, right? You have to know, like, God, I know you can heal my marriage. I am not going through with this divorce because I know you're God. And I know what you can do, and I know what you're capable. And even if my husband doesn't see it right now, or even if I don't even believe it right now, I know that you can heal this marriage if we're both willing. I know it with all my heart. You guys, this house that we have right now, I don't know if some of you know that, but we were still legally separated in October of 2014 when we signed the papers on this house. Why? Because we weren't where we knew we needed to be yet. We were still living. I was in an apartment. He was in the house. We weren't back together yet. But we knew what God was doing, and we knew that God was still in the process of healing both of us, and we knew that he would reconcile this marriage if we were both. There's just no other way. If he's involved with it and we're both willing, how can it not work? And I get not everybody's story is my story, and I get not everybody, has a husband that wanted to change and wanted to be a man of God. And I'm so sorry if that wasn't your story, but let me tell you something. You still have a story. You're divorced, single, married, widowed. You still have a story. It might not be a rock story, but I know if God is in your life, then he has done something over and above what you expected him to do. I know he has. And I really encourage you to share that with somebody this weekend. I wanted to read one last thing from our Live Bold book, and it is on page 187 if you haven't. It was a story that I had shared from week 50 about a little restaurant right down here in Niles. And the verse is this, and it's Romans 10:14. "But how can people call for help if they don't know who to trust? And how can they know who to trust if they haven't heard of the one who can be trusted? And how can they hear if nobody tells them? And how is anyone going to tell them unless someone is sent to do it?" Is God sending you out there to a friend, to a family member, to a coworker, to comfort maybe them and something that they're going through, that you can share your experience. It doesn't always have to be a great experience. It could also be, hey, I've made that mistake too. I think a lot of times people think that we walk around and, you know, we're perfect and we haven't done things. We're all broken. I don't care where you are in your life. We are all broken and we all have a story, and our stories are so powerful. So I just want to leave you with just this last question. What good thing are you holding on to right now that God is asking you to give up, so that he can give you the best of the best of the best? He loves you so much. You are so precious to him. And the reason I'm sharing this story today is because when Saray gave me that rock, I didn't want to keep both of them because, one, I thought that would be a little selfish. Two, I wanted her to also have a story. So here's the funny thing. The next morning when I woke up and I was getting ready, this rock was in the bottom of my makeup bag. I have absolutely no idea how it got there. Seriously, I have no idea how it got there. But I truly believe that if I would have had this rock, that I wouldn't be holding this one right now, because God put that on her heart and she was obedient and gave it to me, just like I was obedient and bent down and picked this rock up when he asked me to. And she recently just found it. She got married and a lot of her stuff was in her parents' house in boxes, I think in the attic or something like that. And I said, hey, if you get a chance to get that rock, like I'm doing some speaking now for different, you know, organizations and things like that. And when I tell this story, I have this to hold, but I'm holding up a piece of paper of this. And it's just such, it is much more powerful to have both of them here and actually holding both of them. So you guys, this is just, it is so amazing to hold this actual rock again after 4 years. And to know what God actually has done in my life, and it's not perfect, and I'm still a work in progress, and my husband is still a work in progress, but we're both fighting. We're both fighting, and we're both staying in the fight. And I just encourage you to search your heart this weekend and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I need to let go of to make a way and make room for the things that God has promised me? I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I would love for you to share this story. It is incredible. Share your story. Your story matters too. Love you guys. Bye.